What's up guys, welcome back to my cycling YouTube channel. In today's video, I will answer most of the questions that I receive almost every day on my Instagram and on my YouTube comments. So in the past, I've been doing 3 or 4 videos about my Winspace bike. So one review, one video about the build, one video about the wheels, and an upcoming video about the handlebar that I'm super excited to share. But with the great success of those videos, a lot of you guys DM me, and most of the time it was the same question, and I was spending a lot of time typing the response back on my smartphone. So in today's video, I did a poll on Instagram and I did a poll on YouTube, and I will be answering most of you guys' questions. Let's get started with YouTube questions, because right now YouTube is my favorite social media. Also, I want to mention I did not prepare any answers, so I will go with the flow and I will answer the question to the best of my knowledge right now. And if I don't have the answer, I'll be like, too bad. Question number 1. How comfortable and stable the bike is? This one is a little bit hard to answer because the stability of a bike will also go with the width of the handlebar and the length of the stem. In my case, I went with the 110 length stem and a 40 wide handlebar, and for me, it's just perfect. It never got twitchy into corners or going high speed. I've went nearly 100 kilometers an hour in the video right there. You can watch this one. Just the bike geometry itself is designed for speed and is designed for racing. So I don't think you should be any worried about the stability of the bike. For the sizing, I will get back to this question a bit later. Interesting about the wheels, how they perform versus other expensive wheels. Do you feel they will last or they will break down easily? Really good question. So prior to the Hyper wheels, I had NVs. NVs were probably the best wheel I've ever ridden. They feel somewhat comparable to the Hyper. I did not see that much of a big difference. It's a stiff carbon wheel, aerodynamic, light as well, so it's good for climbing too. But the NV is 3 times the price of the Hyper. So you could get 3 sets of Hyper for the price of 1 NV. To be honest, it's a no-brainer at this price cost and the performance difference. I did not see enough difference to justify the price of an NV. More general question. Everyone's talking about compliance, either manufactured or into a frame and or seat post or added via suspension dampening. With these making their way into the road scene, what are your thoughts and opinion on it? Compliance, I mean, the Winspace bike is extremely stiff. It's designed for racing. Is it all like a marketing gimmick that their compliance is getting the bike more comfortable? I mean, just lower the PSI of your tire by 5 PSI and you will get that comfort. This is what I think. If you're looking for a race bike, I don't think you should look at comfort. If you're looking for a bike to just be comfortable on, this bike is not for you. This bike is extremely aggressive. This bike is meant to be in aero position all the time. I just think that right now, those compliance hype is maybe not worth it. Can you talk about the carbon spokes and the hub quality on your Hyper wheels and your impression on them, perhaps in relation to more widely known hubs and spokes? As I mentioned in my wheel review, I have had NVs before, and NVs do have aluminum spokes. As soon as you get on the wheels with carbon spokes, you feel the difference right away. I felt that as soon as you press power down the pedal, it just directly transferred to the ground. With aluminum spokes, the hub was slightly flexing, with giving a little delay. With carbon spokes, you don't feel that. It's direct to the ground, and I prefer that. Do you have any information about the less expensive Lachine wheel set offered by Winspace? Any experience or review? I did not try the less expensive wheels. So Winspace came out with this new wheel called the Lachine. It's retail about like $700, and so it's about $400 less than the Hyper. Aluminum spokes, but still carbon rim, aero profiled. I'm really looking forward to try this wheel. I messaged my people at Winspace to see if they can send a set over. Joe, if you're listening to this video, you know my address, ship me one. People are waiting for those reviews. But at that price, if those wheels offer the performance I require as a Cat 1 racer, I will be recommending them every single time because the price is so low, you can replace them easily. If you crash them, I'll definitely have a deeper look into it. Have your mechanic had any trouble building up the bike, especially with the cable routing in the frame/handlebar? To build the bike, my mechanics Felix had no issue at all for everything except for the cable routing. In the build video, he was sarcastic when he said, it's easy, it's easy.
It was super easy. It was super easy. It was the easiest build I ever built.
Because he did spend a lot of time passing the Di2 cable through the handlebar. because you need like those magnets from Park Tool or any magnets to route the cable. It's something really hard that you might need some experience with. A good bike shop mechanics who has experience with Di2 and internal routing will do that in probably 2 minutes. But if you are inexperienced and you want to do Di2 cables through the handlebar yourself, you might run into trouble. Make sure you have those magnets, or you can use like a fishing cable and with the vacuum on the other side, and you fish that cable through, and then after that you can tie your Di2 cable to that fishing cable and you pull it through. If you want to build it mechanical, I've done my girlfriend's bike mechanical myself. It was my first build ever and I did not run into too many issues. It was a bit complicated because it was my first bike, but I nailed it. But our bike got on the road in a day or two. How does the ride compare to something like a SL7? Well, I never rode a SL7 from Specialized. I've heard it's a good bike, but it's also a really expensive bike. So if you're on a budget, the Winspace might be an answer. If you have money floating around, just go for the Specialized. You'll look like any other cool kids on the block with those SL7 bikes. I would love to try the SL7. I just couldn't put my hands on one. And there's this really funny response from a guy who said, I'm sure he had a couple of spare SL7s to compare it to. I found that comment funny to Lech Protein. Someone else asked, what is your training program? So 2019, I had a coach, followed this strict training program. Winter 2020, at the start, I had a coach, and then at some point, I did not really like the training he was giving me, and I just told myself, fuck this shit, I will go on my own. So the whole 2020 season, I had no coach, I did zero structured training. So I did just a lot of base mileage. So a lot of long distance ride with a pace that I could sustain this whole time. And then I also include in between those big rides, a lot of intensity. So going fast on the climbs, try to beat my KOM's time. And just by listening to my body, I knew when I was too tired and I knew when I was feeling good, so I was able to push myself. So this is a tip I can tell you. If you don't want to pay a coach for $200 a month or $100 a month, just ride your bike a lot. Do a lot of long distance with low power, and sometimes do short distance with a lot of power, intervals and stuff. I actually like the T1500 frame, but the aggressive geometry and the short head tube length require a lot of spacer under the stem for many riders. That looks terrible in my opinion. All right. I think the frame is only made for racing or for a few cyclists with a lot of mobility. Well, yes, this bike is designed for speed. This bike is designed for racing. It's not designed for an all-around bike. Winspace has another bike for it. They have the T1500, something like that. This bike is a little bit more of an all-around bicycle. So you could look into that bike, but if you're into racing and beating your friends on those intermediate sprints, the T1500 is your bike for you. All right, that's it for the YouTube comments. Now I will go on the Instagram question I had. If you don't follow me on Instagram already, just go ahead. It's @ShallWeMay. I post a lot of cycling photos and content and my ride, my adventures, some behind the scene. So definitely check me out over there. All right, now for the question on Instagram. Better than any bike you have ever rode, is it an Airoframe? Yes, it's probably one of the best bike I ever rode. So before I had a Garno Genix A1, which was an Airoframe as well, but that bike felt a bit weak and I did not really like it. I'm sort of glad the TSA broke the frame. You can watch a video about it right there. But Winspace is a really good bike, and yes, it's an Airoframe. As you see on my bike, there's no cables at all. It's all integrated, just to save the maximum watts as possible. When do you win a Lachine? Really good question. I hope it's gonna be next year. I have the hopes it's gonna be next year, to be honest. The Lachine race are every Tuesday in Montreal, biggest race series in Quebec. So I'm really looking forward to do at least a podium next year. My fitness will be really good. Can you build an equivalent of a TCR Advanced on this Winspace? I don't know what the TCR Advanced components are, but if it's Ultegra Di2 or Ultegra Mecanical or full-on Mechanical, yes, you can build this bike with any group set that you want. It's just a matter of you sourcing this group set from your local bike shop or to any online retailers. Does the Chinese government pay you for this? No, the Chinese government doesn't pay me for doing those videos, but Winspace do send me some money every month. Those are a percentage of the sales that you guys use my promo code CharlesWeMay10. So as I mentioned in every of my Winspace video, every time you buy a bike using my promo code CharlesWimet10, you get 10% off. But I do receive a little kickback from that sale, so it's helping me fund this YouTube channel and become a full-time cyclist in the future months. First, I want to thank you for reviewing the T1500. Great editing and an overall honest review. Well, thank you. I appreciate your comments. How would you rate this ride experience, performance, compliance to top other end bikes? To be honest, I would rate this bike that is 95% of any other company's high-end bicycle for 1/3 of the price. So if you want this little 5% of performance, comfort, all-in-one, lightness into this one bike, go ahead with those giant Specialized Cannondale, but you will pay at least 2 times the price, if not more. But if you take in mind the cost of this bike and the cost of the other bikes, the choice is easy. Is it worth to upgrade to the bottom bracket to Sea-Bear, Ceramic Speed, BB Infinite, or MBNs? I haven't tested any of those bottom bracket. I would love to try them. I know MBNs watch my videos, so if you want to send me a bottom bracket, I will gladly make a review out of it and to test them out. But I do think that the bottom bracket that comes with the Winspace, it's FSA, but it's branded as Winspace. It's a decent bottom bracket, and it comes with the frame, so you maybe don't need to upgrade it. But if you are a fancy gearhead, yeah, you can put any bottom bracket you want. How much performance is attributed to the frame? Is it 80% the rider and 20% the bike and gear? That is a really good question. I think it will be more of the rider. If you give myself a really low-end $105,000 road bike, I'm pretty sure I could beat a lot of people with my Winspace. So maybe 95% of the rider, 5% the bike. Possible to Winspace to disclose more hard data. Wind tunnel test, good question. I will ask my contact Joe to send me over a little bit more of data, and I will share that to my Instagram at @ShallWeMet. How often would the ceramic BBs on the Hyper needs to be serviced? I don't have this answer. And I don't know mechanics that much. I would say once every 2 years, or you just service them when you feel like they need to. What's your feedback on the integrated handlebar compared to the Vision Metron 5D? I don't know about the Vision Metron 5D, but what I can say about the handlebar is that I really love it. I will do a full review on it really soon, but I just like the fact that there's no cable coming out of the cockpit at all. I see those $10,000 bike that still has a cable from the shifters to the side of the frame, and I think that is unacceptable for a bike that costs you this much money. With the Winspace, if you go for Di2 and hydraulic disc brake, there will be no cables at all, which looks good. And my thoughts on the handlebar itself will be revealed into the review video, so make sure you subscribe. Which size do you recommend if I am 5'11"? So I am 5'6" and I got the medium. Their Winspace sizing is Asian sizing, so you have to make sure that you get the seat tube length correct. So if I'm 5'6", I got the medium and it fits me perfectly. I would say you go for, if you're 5'11", you would go for a large or extra large, depending on your body type. Winspace has a really good chart on their website, and you can compare it to the bike that you have right now. You look at the seat tube, the reach, and the top tube length. You compare it to the Winspace, and it's fairly easy too. Or you can send a message to the folks at Winspace. They usually respond super fast to questions like that about the sizing, so don't hesitate to send them a message. Where did I buy my group set? On Winspace or into a bike shop? So unfortunately, as of right now, Winspace does not offer group set on their website. You cannot order the bike with the group set installed. You have to buy it somewhere else and build the bike yourself or to your local bike shop. For myself, I bought my group set on Merlin Cycle. I'm not paid to say this. This was the best price I could find on the internet. The price on Merlin Cycle for the whole Di2 this group set was like 1,500 Canadian for me. My local bike shop, even with like a cost price deal, was higher than the one on Merlin. But when it got to my house, I had like a $300 fee for customs, but it was still cheaper than buying it local. How much does the bike cost me overall? It's all gonna depend on the build you go for. If you go mechanical or Di2 or ceramic tap. But if you go mechanical, it can range between 3,000 to 8,500 USD. If you go Di2 and this, more about like 4,000 USD, maybe a little bit more. If you had to compare this bike to another one from different brand, which one would you say? Probably the Special Venge. The geometry is somewhat really similar, but for 1/3 of the price. Do you prefer your hyper wheels to be tubeless or Clincher? Good question. I would say I like a lot more the tubeless. I feel more confident that will not have any flats. And I still do carry a replacement tube with me, so it's just a win-win. Red feel is a lot better, and you can ride with lower PSI. It just feels a lot better. So I will go with tubeless. Should I go with disc or a rim version? If you want to be future-proof, again, I'll go with disc. I was debating if I was going mechanical and rim, but a good thing I invested in disc. The future is going towards to disc wheels, so don't mess around and just jump ahead into the disc bike setup, and you won't regret it in the future. What saddle do I use? I have the Pro Stealth. It's the best saddle for me. I like it a lot, and I've never had any issues or rash down in my jewelries. Mechanical or electronic? If you have the budget, electronic 100%. If you don't, it's fine. Just go mechanical. There's Ultegra mechanical or 105 mechanical is good enough for everything. If you're a princess like me and you ride your bike a lot, just go electronic. It's a lot less maintenance, and it's always the shifting is a little bit faster, and you always I feel you can always count on electronic. As a mechanical, the cable can get loose. You have to fix it more from time to time, so I'll go with electronic. What about the SLC from Winspace? SLC is their climbing bike. It's their super light bike. I haven't tried it yet. Looking forward to try one. Again, Joe, send me one. People are asking for it. SLC is a really interesting bike. The frame is around 700 grams, which is extremely light. So you can build yourself like a 5 kilo or 6 kilogram bike with that frame for sure. And I will love to do that. Gabrielle's bike is hotter than mine. Gabrielle's my girlfriend. She has a Winspace T1500 as well, but hers is in X small, and her paint job is killer. It's like this pearlescent blue, so either you look it's blue or you look from another angle it's purple. You can go watch the build video right there. Alright, this is it for today's video. I hope I answered your question correctly. And if you are in the market for a new bike, definitely check out the Winspace bikes. Use my promo code CharlesWomen10 for 10% off at checkout. If you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up. It's always really appreciated, and subscribe if you aren't already. I have a lot more cycling content coming in the next few weeks. Alright, my name is Charles, and I'll see you guys on the road or into the next video. Peace!